Robert Kiyosaki has always said that school teaches many important things, but almost never teaches how money really works. That's why, according to him, the difference between those who spend their lives working for money and those who make money work for them begins with a simple but powerful habit: learning about finances every day. Most people spend years studying to have a profession, but almost no time studying how to manage, protect, and multiply what they earn. They know how to work, but don't know how to make money grow. And that's exactly where the silent change begins in the lives of those who decide to continuously learn about financial education. This person begins to understand the difference between assets and liabilities, one of Kiyosaki's central teachings. They learn that assets put money in your pocket and liabilities take money out of your pocket. This understanding, which seems simple, completely changes the way of viewing each financial decision. Before buying something, they no longer think only about the price, but about the impact that thing will have on their financial life in the coming years. Learning every day doesn't mean taking a long course or spending hours studying complicated numbers. It can be reading a few pages of a book, listening to educational content, studying a type of investment, or better understanding how businesses work. The important thing is that, little by little, the person replaces the consumer mentality with the investor mentality. Over time, this accumulated knowledge begins to influence practical decisions. The person avoids common traps, better understands risks, recognizes opportunities, and becomes more confident to act. They stop depending only on advice from other people and start thinking for themselves. Kiyosaki teaches that true security isn't in a fixed salary, but in the ability to generate income from various sources. And this ability is born from knowledge. The more you understand about money, the less fear you feel, and the more prepared you become to build wealth in a strategic, patient, and conscious way. After a person starts learning about money, an inevitable question arises that Kiyosaki always provoked: do you work for money, or does money work for you? Most people spend their entire lives exchanging time for salary. They work hard, receive payment, pay bills, and restart the cycle the next month. It's constant effort, but without real progress. The habit that changes this game is using part of what you earn to buy assets, that is, things that generate income. Instead of spending everything on consumption, the disciplined person sets aside part of the money to invest in something that will produce returns in the future. It can be a financial investment, a small business, a side project, or any income source that doesn't depend exclusively on your daily physical effort. In the beginning, this process seems slow. The first results are small, almost imperceptible. But each asset acquired is like hiring an employee who works for you without complaining, without missing work, and without asking for a raise. Over time, these financial employees begin to generate enough income to buy new assets, creating a growth cycle. Discipline is the key piece. It's not about doing this once when there's money left over, but transforming it into a priority. First, you pay the assets, then your lifestyle adjusts to what's left. This inversion of priority is what separates those who build financial freedom from those who live trapped by increasingly larger bills. Kiyosaki also warns that raising your standard of living every time income grows is a common trap. The person earns more and immediately spends more, always staying in the same place. But those who focus on making money work for them keep their standard of living controlled and use income increases to accelerate the purchase of assets. Over the years, The income generated by assets begins to approach income from work. Later, it can even surpass it. And it's at this point that the person conquers something Kiyosaki values much more than luxury: freedom to choose how to live, where to work, and what to dedicate your time to, because money stopped being a boss and became a faithful employee. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that you don't need to be a genius to get rich, but it's essential not to act like an amateur with your own money. Many people work hard to earn, but lose everything in poorly thought-out decisions made in the heat of the moment. And almost always, these mistakes happen when emotion speaks louder than understanding. One of the biggest examples of this is impulse buying. The person works hard, receives extra money, and, moved by excitement or comparison with others, takes on a new debt, buys something expensive, or enters into a long financial commitment without evaluating the real impact. In that instant, it seems like an achievement. Months later, it becomes a weight that suffocates the budget. Kiyosaki explains that important financial decisions shouldn't be quick. They should be analyzed. People with an investor mentality ask questions before acting. They want to know if that will generate income, if it will appreciate over time, what the risks are, and how much they can lose if something goes wrong. This pause to think already eliminates most bad decisions. Another common mistake he highlights is investing in something you don't understand. Many people put money into fads because they heard someone say it was making profit, without studying, without understanding how it works, without knowing where the return will come from. That's not investing, it's gambling. And gambling, sooner or later, exacts a high price. Avoiding big mistakes doesn't mean being afraid of everything, but acting with awareness. It's different from standing still out of insecurity. The financially educated person studies, prepares, and when they decide to act, does so knowing where they're stepping. If they make a mistake, the mistake is small and becomes a lesson, not a financial tragedy. Kiyosaki reinforces that getting rich is more about protecting wealth than about quick gains. When you avoid big losses, what you build starts to accumulate. And this constant accumulation, protected from impulsive decisions, is what allows money to grow over time in a solid and lasting way. Robert Kiyosaki has always made it clear that working hard is important, but working hard without financial direction is what keeps most people trapped in the rat race. The difference isn't just in the effort, but in consistency combined with the mentality of an owner, not just an employee. Many people work every day, keep schedules, receive salaries, and repeat this cycle for decades. This is effort, but not necessarily wealth building. The difference begins when the person maintains discipline at work, but at the same time uses this period to learn, grow, and build something of their own in the long term. Consistency, in this case, isn't just clocking in. It's improving a little each day, developing new skills, understanding more about money, about business, and about opportunities. It's using the current job as a training ground, not as a final destination. This change in vision transforms routine into preparation for financial freedom. Kiyosaki talks a lot about building assets, and this rarely happens overnight. A small business, an investment that grows, a new income source, all of this requires time, adjustments, and patience. Those who give up quickly because results don't appear in the first months almost never reach the point where money truly starts to work. Working with consistency also means continuing even when no one is applauding. In the beginning, there's no recognition, no big gains, no clear signs that it's working. But it's precisely in this silent period that the foundations are being built. Just as a tree grows first in its roots before appearing to the world, wealth also begins invisibly. People who prosper financially understand they don't need bursts of motivation. They need solid habits. They do what needs to be done even on ordinary days, tired or without enthusiasm. This disciplined repetition is what, over the years, creates skills, assets, and opportunities that most people never develop. In the end, according to Kiyosaki, daily consistency, combined with the mentality of building something of your own, transforms survival work into a path of building freedom. It's not about working more hours. It's about working every day with the intention of, little by little, leaving salary dependence and approaching a life where money works for you. Robert Kiyosaki has always emphasized that money is a topic that deeply affects people's emotions. Fear, anxiety, excessive excitement, and even shame influence financial decisions every day. That's why one of the most important habits for building wealth is learning not to let emotions control your choices. Many bad decisions happen out of fear. Fear of losing money, fear of trying something new, fear of leaving the comfort zone. This fear makes the person leave money idle, avoid learning about investments, and remain dependent only on salary. The problem is that the security they seek ends up becoming a trap that limits their growth. On the other hand, there's also overconfidence and euphoria. When someone sees other people making money quickly, they may feel they're being left behind and act without thinking. They enter businesses they don't understand, take on risks greater than they can bear, and make decisions based on the excitement of the moment. When reality appears, the loss comes accompanied by frustration. Kiyosaki teaches that emotional intelligence is as important as financial intelligence. The person needs to learn to observe their emotions without letting them take control. Feeling fear is normal. Feeling enthusiasm too. The problem begins when the decision is made only based on these feelings, without analysis and without strategy. People who build wealth develop the habit of pausing before acting. They breathe, analyze numbers, evaluate risks, and think long-term. They don't let themselves be carried away by panic in difficult moments, nor by euphoria in high moments. This emotional stability creates more balanced decisions and more consistent results. Over time, this emotional control brings true confidence, not the kind based on impulse, but on preparation. The person knows they studied, knows they calculated the risks, and knows they're acting with awareness. This reduces stress and allows them to keep moving forward, even when the scenario changes. In the end, mastering your own emotions regarding money is like holding the steering wheel firmly on a road full of curves. Those who let fear or excitement drive end up going off course. Those who maintain control move forward with security, consistency, and much better chances of reaching financial freedom. One of Robert Kiyosaki's strongest teachings is that many people appear rich on the outside, but are financially trapped on the inside. Big houses, expensive cars, long installments, and a standard of living that depends on a constant salary. They need to keep working at the same pace because their lifestyle doesn't allow them to stop. The habit that truly builds wealth is the opposite of this, living below your means even when income increases. This doesn't mean living poorly, but living with awareness. It means not turning every salary increase into new installments, not using money just to show achievements, but rather to build assets that bring freedom in the future. Kiyosaki explains that every time a person raises their standard of living without increasing their assets, they create a new financial obligation. More bills, more commitments, more pressure. And the greater this pressure, the harder it becomes to leave work dependency. The person may even earn well, but can't breathe. But those who decide to maintain a controlled lifestyle create financial space. This space becomes investment, and these investments, over time, begin to generate income. It's as if the person were buying pieces of freedom little by little. Each asset acquired reduces a bit the need to depend exclusively on their own effort. This habit also strengthens discipline. Saying no to certain expenses in the present isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of long-term vision. The person understands they don't need to prove anything to anyone now because they're building a foundation that will bring peace later. They trade immediate satisfaction for future security and freedom. Over the years, this difference in behavior becomes enormous. While some remain trapped in an expensive standard of living, others have options. They can reduce their work pace, choose projects more calmly, or even completely change direction because their expenses don't control their decisions. Living below your means, therefore, isn't about restriction, it's about strategy. It's consciously choosing to use today's money to create a lighter and freer life tomorrow, where money stops being a constant worry and becomes a tool in your favor. Robert Kiyosaki has always warned that the desire to get rich quick is one of the biggest financial traps. Haste makes people enter dubious schemes, take on risks they don't understand, and abandon solid strategies just because results didn't appear immediately. True wealth, according to him, is built like a resistant house, brick by brick, with time and structure. Many people start motivated to invest, open a business, or build new income sources, but give up when they realize growth at the beginning is slow. They expect quick changes, when in reality the process is silent and cumulative. In the first months, almost nothing seems to happen. But beneath the surface, the foundations are being formed. Having realistic expectations means understanding that mistakes are part of it, that profits aren't always immediate, and that learning comes along with challenges. Those who accept this don't get frustrated easily. Instead of stopping, they adjust course, learn from experience, and keep moving forward. This persistence is what separates those who dream of wealth from those who actually build it. Kiyosaki also talks a lot about the power of time. Well-chosen assets tend to grow over the years. Businesses improve with experience. Investments benefit from compound interest. But none of this works for those who go in and out all the time, guided by anxiety. Patience allows time to do its part in the process. This habit also protects against dangerous comparisons. There will always be someone showing quick results or impressive gains. But each reality is different, and often these results aren't sustainable. Those who have patience focus on their own journey, their own plan, and their own evolution, without being distracted by risky shortcuts. Over time, consistency begins to bear visible fruit. What before seemed slow transforms into solid growth. Asset income increases, decisions become more secure, and financial freedom begins to stop being a distant idea and become a concrete possibility. In the end, having patience and realistic expectations is understanding that getting rich isn't an event, it's a process. And those who respect this process without haste and without illusions build a financial foundation strong enough to last a lifetime. Even after understanding these 7 habits, many people still make a silent mistake. They think they need to do everything perfectly to start. Robert Kiyosaki has always reinforced that financial progress isn't born from perfection. It's born from movement. Small steps, taken consistently, are worth much more than big plans that never leave the drawing board. Think of someone who decides to apply these habits in real life. At the beginning, almost nothing changes on the outside. The routine remains similar. Work still requires effort. Bills still arrive. But inside, the mentality is already different. This person begins to better observe where money is going, begins to learn in free time, begins to think before spending, and starts seeking ways to create assets, even small ones. It's a silent change, almost invisible to those looking from outside. Friends and family may even think nothing is different. But month after month, the person moves away from impulsive decisions, reduces waste, accumulates knowledge, and plants small financial seeds that, in the future, transform into income sources. The most interesting thing is that, over time, these habits begin to reinforce each other. By learning more, the person makes better decisions. By making better decisions, they make fewer mistakes. By making fewer mistakes, more money is left to invest. By investing more, motivation grows to continue studying and maintaining discipline. A positive cycle forms that strengthens each year. This process also changes how the person sees work. The job stops being just a way to pay bills and becomes a tool to build assets. Part of the income earned gets a new destination, future freedom. This brings a sense of purpose that many people have never experienced, even while working hard for decades. And there's another important point that Kiyosaki always highlighted. Financial freedom isn't just about stopping work. It's about having options. It's being able to choose to work because you want to, not because you're obligated to. It's being able to say no to situations that don't make sense. It's having time for family, for health, for personal projects, without the constant pressure of bills controlling each decision. All of this begins simply, almost humbly, with daily habits that don't draw attention. They're not actions that earn likes or immediate applause. They're decisions made in silence, repeated when no one is looking, sustained by a vision of the future that most people don't have the patience to maintain. And that's precisely why these habits work. Because while most people seek quick and visible results, those who follow this path are building something slower, but much more solid. Over time, something begins to change very clearly in the life of those who live these habits. The relationship with money stops being based on survival and becomes based on strategy. The person no longer thinks only about how to pay this month's bills, but begins to think about how to ensure peace of mind in the coming years. This change in focus completely alters daily decisions. Before, any extra money became immediate consumption. Now, it becomes an investment opportunity. Before, a financial difficulty generated despair. Now it generates analysis. What can I adjust? What can I learn from this? This financial maturity doesn't happen all at once, but strengthens with each conscious choice. Another important transformation happens in the way of seeing time. Most people exchange time for money and feel it's never enough. But those who build assets begin to realize that each right decision today can reduce pressure tomorrow. It's as if, little by little, the person were buying pieces of their own time in the future. Robert Kiyosaki always said that the rich focus on building assets, while most focus only on income. When these habits enter the routine, this difference becomes practical. the person starts asking more frequently, will this bring me closer or further from financial freedom? This simple question avoids many wrong paths, and even when mistakes arise, because they always do, the reaction is different. Instead of giving up, the person adjusts. Instead of blaming themselves, they learn. Each mistake becomes a lesson, not a sentence. This posture reduces fear and increases confidence to keep moving forward step by step. Over time, results begin to appear discreetly, but really, less debt, more control, some investments growing, new income sources emerging slowly. It's not a sudden turnaround, it's a constant transition. The person who before felt trapped begins to realize they're building exits. And perhaps the most powerful point of all is this: the person's identity changes. They stop seeing themselves only as someone who works for money and start seeing themselves as someone who builds assets, makes conscious decisions, and plans the future with clarity. This internal change sustains all other external changes. That's how wealth begins to take shape in real life. Not with noise, not with haste, but with direction, repetition, and choices made with understanding. If you pay attention, you'll notice that nothing said here is a hidden secret. It's not forbidden information, nor a magic formula. What makes all this powerful is that almost no one applies it consistently. Most know what they should do, but few transform it into a daily habit. Robert Kiyosaki has always reinforced that the difference between those who spend their entire lives chasing money and those who build financial freedom lies in small decisions repeated over the years. It's not big, isolated moments that define financial future. It's simple actions, done even when no one is watching. Learning a little every day changes your way of thinking. Controlling impulses protects your money. Investing with discipline builds assets. Living below what you earn creates space to grow. Staying calm avoids bad choices. Working with consistency develops your skills. And having patience allows time to multiply your efforts. In isolation, each habit seems small. Together, they change the course of an entire life. At the beginning, results are invisible. There's no applause, no recognition, no clear signs of progress. But inside, you're becoming a different person, more aware, more strategic, more prepared. And this new mentality begins to reflect in your finances, in your choices, and in your opportunities. Years later, the difference appears. While many remain trapped in debt, pressure, and lack of options, those who followed this path have more control, more security, and more freedom to decide how they want to live. Not because they were lucky, but because they had discipline when it was easier to give up. True wealth isn't born from haste, it's born from repeating the right choices. Silent, constant, intelligent, and all of this begins the day you decide that your money will no longer control your life, because now you're learning to control your money. If this made sense to you, it's because you're already starting to think differently. And thinking differently is always the first step to living differently. And if this content opened your mind in some way, make a simple deal with me. Like this video so that more people have access to this type of financial education that changes lives in silence. And share it with someone you know who lives worried about money, trapped in debt, or thinking they'll never get out of the same place. Sometimes all a person needs is to change the way they think. And that can start with a single video. See you in the next one.